All right. How's it going, everybody? I am here in the building live with Coach Lakita Gantz, correct? That's how you say the last name. Thank you, by the way, for coming and being in the building with me. I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to this interview. I'm not going to lie, before I do interviews, I got to get the scoping and getting to know someone because we know each other through mutual friends. So there's a lot that Coach Gantz does. So I'm looking forward to hearing her story. So I'm done talking. Can we start off by first, can you tell us about yourself?
My name, of course, is Lakita, the Coach Gantz on Instagram. I would say I phrase that the coach because I feel like I teach in every aspect, whether it's as a mother, as a teacher, as a coach. I'm always trying to help guide someone. I have coached both boys, or I should say men, boys, girls, men, women. I've coached high school basketball, AAU basketball, and I've coached Division I basketball as well as junior college basketball. So I've also been an English teacher for 16 years.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I taught English for 16 years in high school, and I like to travel. I like to travel, and one of my goals is to see every NBA arena and every football NFL arena in the country. So that's like the two goals that I have.
So how far along are you in those goals so far?
With the NBA arena, I'm past 10.
Okay.
The NFL, I'm like at 7 or something like that. So my goal is to retire soon as my son finishes college.
Yeah.
And I'll really get busy. But really after he goes to goes to college, I'm going to get busy at that. So.
Yeah, so are you currently still teaching? Are you still?
No,
okay.
Currently I am a mentor.
Okay.
I mentor young men and young girls and boys between the ages of 8 and 12. My oldest is 12. So that's my full-time job. I mentor. I pick up kids and I take them to different things and teach them different things and take them home. It's like
awesome.
The best job ever, right?
Yeah, it is. It's easier than being a teacher, I'll tell you that.
So from 2000 to 2016, though, I taught.
Wow.
And then I was able to get the head job, the coaching job or directors of operations for the men's basketball team at Eastern Michigan. So that's how I ended up stopping my teaching career.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you were the head of basketball operations at Easton. Is that what you said?
Director of operations.
Director.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
I was at the time I got the job in 2016, and at that time I was one of only 5 women who held a position on the men's Division I side of basketball.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And that kind of led to my next question was, I seen on your Instagram profile that you are an educator and a writer.
Yeah.
So you kind of talked about your education life. Is there anything else you want to touch on with that too as well? Like about, other things that you did in the education field. I know you said you taught English. Was that the same school or?
No, so I started out teaching at the juvenile detention facility.
Okay.
And I want to bring that up because that was my first 2 years and my introduction to teaching. I didn't go to college to be a teacher.
Yeah.
It was kind of something that someone was nagging me to coach and teach, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Same here.
And I ended up going to the juvenile, becoming a substitute teacher, and somehow in like 5 months I was a full-time teacher, and I learned pretty fast that I'm really good at it. And I really like it, and I had the passion for children. So being that was my, the motivation for me. That was actually my motivation to get my master's degree, right? Because I was like, I'm not going back to school. But it was like, well, I should be certified in teaching. So I went back for that. And then I just had a long journey of teaching different high schools. My last high school was Mumford High School. And in between that, I was still coaching. So I had a lot of coaching jobs as well.
That's awesome. Believe it or not, it's very similar to my story. I didn't go into teaching, end up graduating. Someone pushed me, and then teaching and coaching is what I do now too. So we have that similarity. So where does the writer come in? I know you used to mention that you're a writer. So where did that writer part comes in?
I said I wrote my first rap.
Oh, okay.
When I was I believe that writing for me started when my cousin passed away when I was going into the 10th grade. And he was the backbone for my basketball career, or just really being there for me. So when he passed away, I started writing about how I felt. So writing started for me then. However, if anyone follows me, they know that I either have a great quote, or I used to lead my Facebook page with Phenomenal Woman affirmations. And so Phenomenal Woman became a thing. Everyone would look for my affirmations. And now I've turned Phenomenal Woman affirmations into Phenomenal Athlete, Phenomenal Coach, and Phenomenal Person. So at one point, you'll be able to buy either one book or all 4 books at the same time. And so that's the writer in me, that I kind of keep it going. Just always writing positive little quotes to motivate people. And it's kind of why I created Speak Volumes.
You know what? You know what's funny is that you're leading to every next question, which is also great. That's that journalist in you too. I know you had the podcast going. I mean, for those that don't know, she has a lot going on, and I know you were about to say. You were about to say something.
I was going to say, and that's funny because I originally went to school for radio and TV.
That's funny because that's the same here. I did journalism too, so that's what I wanted to do.
And just the only thing that kept me away from that was once I did my internship, I found out that television didn't fit with me morally.
Yeah.
And when I don't fit with something, I can easily walk away.
Yeah.
And I did that, even though I spent 5 years and a lot of money. But the beauty of it is that mass communication still works within what I do. So.
And you can do it for anything,
exactly.
Really. Like I said, you had your own podcast going with Carol and Sonia through the nets. So,
through the nets.
Yep, you got that going. So, going back to what you were saying, Speak Volumes. So that's a brand. Like, what do I even like? That go to Speak Volumes.
Speak Volumes is the name of the clothing line.
Okay.
It is basically a clothing line designed to be able to say things that normally people don't have the courage to say. And it's an opportunity to give people a platform. So not only do I and my son come up with the quotes or the titles that go across the shirts, but just for example, if you and I were just sitting here and you came up with a dope quote, or you just said a quote that was dope, I'm going to say, hey, I think you should put that on the shirt.
Yeah.
And then I'll use, if you give me permission, we'll figure out a way to make it a part of the brand. You'll get money for it as well, and your name will be on your quote on the back of our shirts. So it's not just for us, it's for everybody, because everyone has something good to say. It's just a matter of who hears it, right? And how powerful it can be when everybody else can hear it. So.
Yep, that's awesome, and I want to kind of talk about some of the clothing line that you have on there.
Okay.
First of all, you're wearing a shirt right now, or a long sleeve that says "Chess, Not Checkers." Can you explain that one right there?
Yes. Of course, if you don't play chess, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But if you do play chess, and let's just say, this is a quote that people talk about, or they say all the time.
Especially coaches.
Especially coaches, right? And especially when you're playing the game of life.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I feel like checkers is a game that everyone can play. But when you learn how to play chess and you learn how to strategize and make certain moves in order to get what you want, I feel like that's the boundary of what life is all about. Whether you're playing a sport, whether you're at a job, whether you're a parent, it all kind of connects to play the chess game instead of the checkers game, because you actually get more out of it, and it's deeper, it's way deeper,
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
The back of the shirt says, so there's a quote normally on the back of our shirts, and this one says, I do what I have to do until I can do what I want to do. And so that overall speaks volumes, because if you understand that as a person, everything is not going to be just peaches and cream. And that's what I try to tell today's millennial child. You're spoiled and you think it's going to go your way, but when real life kicks in, you have to be able to play chess, not checkers.
There you go. I hope a lot of the millennial children or child, I guess, can look into what you just said. That's a very good quote. You said, I do what I have to do until I can do what I want to do. That's what it says. That's awesome.
And I just want to give credit to this quote on the back. It's so Kareem Rozier that plays for Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Okay.
His grandmother created the quote on the back.
That's awesome. Wow, look at that. So you got a quote from a grandma and use it on a shirt. That could be their own clothing line itself. Quotes from grandma. So they have the best quotes usually.
Yes.
You have another one. There's another one that I don't know, and I really wanted to know about because I've seen all the Cosmos players wearing it, Coach DJ, and it says, 13,000 with a question mark.
Yes.
Can you explain to me what that means?
So 13,000 with the question mark, and on the back it says, just because you prepared me for college doesn't give you the right to break my spirit for the world. That was our first design. So we were already in, when I say we, my son and I, we were already in the makings of the clothing line. My son went to University of Detroit Jesuit from 7th grade all the way to sophomore year, which was in August of last year. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. And not, it's no knock on UD Jesuit. I think they're the most the best school when it comes to Michigan schools in terms of being educated, okay? They're awesome in terms of what they give as far as the education goes. However, there's a cultural and social disconnect somewhere for, I feel like, not just kids of color, I think for all the kids, because the new generation, they're different.
Yeah.
I don't care what color you are, they are different. So all the punitive rules and all the old school stuff, it doesn't work for them as a whole. And I think that if educational administrators recognize this, I think they'll get a better understanding of how to get these kids on the same page as them. I think it's just something that not just UD has a problem with. I think a lot of schools have a problem with that. So with that being said, we were talking about transferring, my son and I. And in the conversation, the quote came out. And then I was like, yeah, that's a good quote. Like, I didn't even think about that. And then he said, I know what I want to put on our first shirt. And I said, what? And he said, 13,000. And I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, 13,000 with a question mark. So I'm like, 13K? He's like, no, 13 written all the way out with a question mark. And I was like, well, what does that stand for? And he's like, well, it costs $13,000 per year to go to the University of Detroit Jesuit.
Whoa, I didn't even know that. I thought he was talking about college semester.
No, that's how much it costs per semester. Now, let's take it a little bit farther, because it's not just focused on that. It really stands for no amount of money that someone pays you or you pay somebody should make you have to change who you are. And that's really it. So it could be $13, it could be $130, $30,000, it could be $1 million. You should be able to be who you want to be and not feel like you have to be something else because someone else is giving you something or you're giving them something. And that's pretty much the gist of that shirt.
That's awesome. That's deep too.
Yeah.
I'm loving the shirts, and I know I saw another one that had Kobe. I definitely want that Kobe one. I love the quote. So we'll talk more about that after the interview. I definitely want to get one of those Kobe shirts. So going on to the next question is, I know you kind of touched on this, how you were a coach. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned, what do you coach? Maybe you could touch on that one more time. Like, what have you coached? And then why do you love coaching?
Okay. So I started out my alma mater, Cooley High School. I was the assistant girls coach at Cooley. Okay, this was a long time ago, 2000. My brother played for Mumford. He was a senior while I was coaching my first year of high school basketball. But when I would go see him, I would talk to him on the side and tell him all type of stuff. I never knew that his coach was listening to me talk to him and give him like pointers. Or he taught me as well. So we would go back and forth. And the next season, my brother called and said, my high school coach wants to meet you, and he wants to know if you will help him coach. And I was like, what?
And this is boys, by the way.
These are the boys at Mumford. And so I went over and I met Mr. Don Parker. And Don Parker asked me to help him coach. And I want to say the most beautiful part about him allowing me to coach is that he let me coach. He didn't, oh, don't do this to my kids, or don't say that to my kids, or he gave me like the power to be me. And I have enough understanding and respect for anyone in charge to know how to be a follower, right? So although I was this great voice, I also knew how to follow. Yeah. I also knew how to ask for help. I also knew, how to just play my position, but also still lead and help him lead. And that was the start of my coaching boys. And I think the next most powerful thing happened. I'm coaching the boys at Mumford, and Deion Harris was playing, Joe Carr. It was like talent everywhere. Wild Porter, and I'm coaching for about 3 or 4 years, maybe 2 or 3. And a man named Larry Williams came up to me with Rocky from Team Michigan. Now, Rocky coached the Team Michigan team that had Jalen Rose on it that won the national championship. And they walked up to me and they were like, so we want you to come and coach our AAU team. And I'm like, men? And they're like, yes, 19U.
Wow.
I was probably 22, 23 years old. And I'm like, me? I'm like, okay. Tried that out, and that was like probably the main thing that kind of transitioned me into really knowing like I can do this. This is what I'm born to do. And I also knew my first game of coaching that I wasn't pursuing my professional career overseas anymore. I kind of knew coaching is it. I know how to do this. I can, I knew the X's and O's. They would come to me so fast. And so that kind of played a role in me really figuring out, this coaching thing is where it's at. And so from there, I started just teaching myself and going out to the college, MSU. So Tom Izzo used to do clinics, always at his clinics. If my friend worked at Michigan, I'm up there trying to learn. And that's the one thing, if I can teach any young coach right now, right? There's not a coach's clinic. There's not a coach that I didn't know and I didn't seek to find and go to their practices to get more information and to learn more. So a lot of people might say, well, dang, she ended up being the director of operations for a men's team, right? But I worked really hard. I worked really hard to get there, and by building the relationships with these coaches instead of just thinking, oh, he's my homeboy, he should give me. No, I built relationships, and building relationships is the key to getting to that next step of being able to reach your goal if you're really trying to be a college coach. And so that's some good advice that I would give anyone seeking to do that. Definitely.
And I really do appreciate you sharing that, because that's very valuable information. We got a couple of thumbs up on Instagram, and then Nabil Naji, he's the principal of Tau Beta. He said, be sure to share her merchandise info. I quickly mentioned it on the post, but it's speakvolumes.com,
yes.
Correct? That's
Speak
right.
Volumes with a Z.
Z, yes, it is. Speak Volumes with a Z at the end of volumes.com. That's to share your info, and I'm going to be posting stuff. And like I said, obviously you can share it too and post it as well. Thank you for that. That's a great, I don't know if you ever, I guess you kind of did touch on, but I guess what makes you love coaching, I guess, the most important thing, I guess.
What makes me love it is, to be honest, I started playing basketball in the 9th grade. Just real quick here, I tried out for the football team when I got to high school. All my brothers played football. I had god brothers, and that's what we did. I go to the football tryout like, yeah, I'm here to be a middle linebacker. And the coach was like, okay, just stand over there. And at the end of that practice, he walked me upstairs, introduced me to the JV basketball coach. I never played basketball, right? Never. I'd never been on a team, and I ended up liking it because it was competitive. I just like to be competitive, and I taught myself how to play basketball, and over the next 4 years, I earned a Division II scholarship in 4 years. And so I've always just loved it. It was a love that I had, and I felt like someone helped me, and I want to give this back to someone. And so it's fun. And it was a way for me to stay active in the game. It was a way for me to keep my love and my passion going, even though I wasn't playing professional basketball.
Yep.
So I think that's why a lot of people go into coaching after they play, of course. For sure.
And thank you for sharing that. And I'm congratulations on being getting a college scholarship. It's not easy, It's not easy, and it's a lot of hard work that goes into that, for sure.
Yes.
So looking at your posts, you do a lot for the community. I seem like you're everywhere,
Yes.
So
I try to be.
Yeah. So why do you feel it's important to give back to the community and kind of be a part of the community,
I want to say, most importantly, I do honestly believe that, and it's I don't want to be churchy or, but I know what the Bible says, and the Bible says that I was created to serve. I teach my son the same thing. Our job on this earth is to serve people. And at the end of the day, that's my goal. Every day I wake up, what can I do for someone else? How can I help someone else? Do I have a chip on my shoulder a lot because I'm about my business and I'm passionate? Yes, but in all honesty, everything I do is to help somebody. And I honestly do it because I love doing that, but I also know when we do that, we get things back tenfold. So I seek to do for people who don't have. I wasn't always, I wasn't brought up with a silver spoon in my mouth, and someone helped me. Someone helped me along the way. Every step, whether it was the basketball, coach or the football coach who helped me get there, the basketball coach who helped me learn. After that, there was a referee who helped me get into college. You know what I mean? It was always someone there to help me every step of the way. And so I have to give that back because he blessed me with those people. He put those people in my life. They didn't just, they're not like I am with my son, where he's growing up with this woman who has been through all this. I didn't have that. He just kind of put these people in my life and put these pieces together to build this puzzle of a person that now helps other people do the same thing. So that's why I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's also, again, I love the answers, and I think that's good enough. When people ask me that same question, that's kind of what I kind of answer back to. Just, serving people is just a great feeling,
It is.
It definitely is a great feeling. By the way, your son, you said he's going to college. Like, where is he at?
No, so he's about to be a junior.
Okay.
He, like I said, he left UAD.
Yep.
He's at Farmington High School.
Okay.
He's 15 years old. And I like to say that because sometimes if people see him, he's like 6'6". So
oh, wow.
when people see him, they think like, oh, he's this. No, he's a 15-year-old little boy that I don't even want to buy a car for because there's so much going on in this world.
Yeah.
But, he's at Farmington, and he plays guard forward for Coach Porter. And I'm really happy that he's over there. He, I won't say he was in a dark place, but he wasn't as happy as his 7th grade year at UAD. But his transition to Farmington, he's just like back to the life of the party, and I'm just so happy. And I mean, I just want to say with that always pay attention to your children, and don't make them stay in something that's not a good fit. Even if it's about status, it may look good on paper, but it may not be good for the overall kid, and you gotta recognize that as a parent.
Yeah, and then for their future, and
yes,
and the kids know that like you're trying your best to make decisions and help them, and if they feel like that you're keeping them in a situation, they feel like okay, like this person doesn't understand me or something like that, and you need to be there for them no matter what the situation is.
I always tell people that this is just a parent. I think it's part of me being a teacher and seeing parents, and then me now being a parent. Most parents think that by the time their kids get to high school, they can just let them go and be free. But when they get to high school is when you need to pay the most attention to them.
Yep.
Because that's when they're learning who they are, and all of these influences are dropping down, and they don't know which way to turn. And so that's the time when they need their parents the most.
This advice right here, man. I hope people get to listen to it either now or later.
Thank you.
Some great advice, seriously. So my next question kind of goes off the last one. You always seem like you're in a positive mindset. For those that are watching or eventually watch, you can just read it off the 25 minutes we've been here.
Thank you.
So why do you feel it's important to try to stay positive at all times?
So I tore my ACL in my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year of college, and then I tore it again after I transferred colleges going into my junior year, right? Or during my junior year. Those two experiences for me, when I say I did them alone, my mom wasn't able to come and be there, right? My mom wasn't able to be there for the surgeries and stuff like that. And I went to Raleigh, North Carolina. So I left Detroit and went 13 hours away and was there by myself. But those two injuries made me understand how to deal with adversity and look at it from a positive light. Because if I hadn't learned that, I probably wouldn't even be a coach. I would have never gotten to being a coach or anything if I got down on myself because I got hurt. Because my thing was, I worked so hard. Why would he? But then I had to say to myself, but he put this in my path so that I can see how I can maneuver and I can make it through this process. And by making it through this process, if I can do this, I can do anything. And so especially those were like a year and a half apart. Same injury, and I was working so hard. But those two injuries taught me that you have to have mind over matter, always look at the glass half full, and I had some good positive role models. My college coach going into Savannah State when I transferred, she was amazing, and she taught me how to be a lady. I can say that. I'll give my coach, Tamika Smith-Jones, the credit. She taught me how to be a lady, always think positive, and do the right thing. And she was a really good influence on me. She still is to this day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, just getting to know you through this interview, we have a lot of similarities. ACL tears as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually recovering from one right now. That's
Okay.
on this knee. So, actually 3 times.
Me too. 2 and then 1.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Football.
2 and 1,
I played
all
professional-
basketball.
I played professional football 2006 and tore my knee up. I was like, I'm too old for this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shout out to Coach Blankenship, who coached the Detroit. Oh my gosh. Why can't the Demolition? I was about to say the other team, but he coached the Demolition, and he won 4 championships out of 7 years.
That's awesome. Is that still going on, Detroit Demolition?
No, he retired. So once he retired, of course, the team kind of let itself go. And then they do have the Detroit Danger, I think, now.
Okay.
They do have a women's football team still, but he's not the coach anymore.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And then the other questions that I have are questions I usually ask all of the guests is,
Okay.
obviously, other than getting to know yourself, telling us about yourself, what gets you up every morning? Like, what is your motivational factor every morning?
So to be honest, my motivation is my son, and he has been that for me ever since he was born. I take motherhood very serious, and I take what I teach him very serious. So I've always tried to be a great role model for him. The same I did for my sister. My mother taught me, because I'm the oldest, so she always said, you got to take care of your brothers and sisters. No matter what happens, if anything happens to me, you have to take care of your brothers and sisters. And that's just been instilled in me. So when I had my son, he's the only thing that matters. Everything I've done for the last 15 years has been a sacrifice for him, a lesson for him, to make something better for him. That's my number one job. And so that's my motivation. Don't get me wrong, I love helping everyone else, and it's a blessing to be able to help everyone else. But motivating me every day to get up right now is my son.
Yeah.
I mean, I work out because of him. I wanted him to see, if your 40-something-year-old mother can work out, you can do this. And that's been our journey for the last 3 years. And to see his transition and his body, and now he's seeing like, oh, this really works.
Yep.
I just got to keep working out because I need to stay fine until I'm 75.
We all do. We all do. But no, that's enough. That's enough. And honestly, that's what gets you up every morning, and that is awesome. And I mean, that's more than enough. You know, our kids is definitely, to me, should be one of your top priorities for sure. And then my next question is, by the way, you said that you take it very serious being a parent. Mm-hmm. It's funny that you say that because I was watching one of your videos on Instagram, and I heard you yelling from the stands, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to interview her because she's like me right there. I've been the same way, screaming from the stands, trying not to coach, because if I'm not the coach, trying not to, but at the same time, it's just in us.
Yes.
You know, to shout it out and say what we have to say.
Yes, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. So my last one is for someone who may be walking in the same or similar footsteps as you. What advice would you give them? Motivate me.
Okay. First of all, my number one thing is to learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. Be observant. Pay attention. Help those that you can. And even when you can't, and you can find a resource for them, help them that way. I'm big on just, if I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody else who can. I like being the connector between people. And that right there helps the world, right? It helps everyone. If we all kind of thought that way, we all would probably be in a better space. So anyone who's in my position, just keep building relationships. Build relationships. Don't think that someone is too big or too small. Everybody's equal. I won't say that you're using people, but you never know when you're going to cross those paths again, and you never know who's watching, right? You never know who's watching. If it wasn't for Coach Parker watching me with my brother, or Coach Larry watching me with the boys at Mumford, none of the things that I have would have happened to me if I were just doing them for show. I do them naturally. I do them for the love of it, and someone's always watching. So God is going to make sure that He fits right in there and pull and push and gets you to where you need to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I usually ask if there's any final words. You know, like you said, there's a lot going on in the world right now. So if there's any like final comment you want to mention or anything like that.
Just, you know, I just say share love. Like, share love, show love. It's hard, I know, because other people are not as, you know, loving. But even for someone who, like me, I'm always positive, but I still have to pray and ask to give me that love to show every day. But love is a huge characteristic that people don't understand. If you have it, you can get through anything.
Yep, that is true. And I know yesterday I saw that it was your birthday, and I seen that you said you don't celebrate birthdays,
Yeah.
but I do want to say happy birthday while we are live, and wanted to share that. That's funny. I was watching the video. I was like, oh my God. I'm interviewing her right after her birthday, and then I seen that she said you don't celebrate birthdays. I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
And
So
it's funny because, like, a lot of people have chimed in, and, you know, I learned, but it goes back to me learning, right? Still researching, and don't ever think I know everything. And, you know, I've had some good times in the last 19 months not celebrating. And it makes me look at other things in a wide spectrum, right? Like, I used to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, but it's not a bad thing if you do, you don't, but those are, you know, just some things that I've been researching, and it's made my life a little bit more peaceful.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I appreciate it though.
Yeah, for sure.
By I guess the law, I'm 43, I guess. So
Yeah. So no, we had a guest. I mean, someone watching said happy birthday. His name is Malik. He just wanted to tell you happy birthday.
Thank
And then Carol just joined us. Carol, I'm sorry the interview is about to end, but you could of course still watch it once we
Yes.
post it.
Yes.
And thank you again, Coach Lakita. I really do appreciate
thank
you coming.
I appreciate you reaching out. You know, even taking the time to think that I could motivate you.
You definitely did. I mean, you can't, like, everything that you just said and everything that you do, your actions speak louder than words, honestly. So you really do. Hey, Carol. Carol just waved at us.
Hey, Bay Bush, and my Miss Sonia's, my Through the Nets.
Yep.
Cast
Through the net.
members.
Yeah. So you're a walking motivation, and honestly, thank you so much for stopping by.
No problem.
I am going to end the live feed. So again, thank you guys for watching. We'll be
Thank
posting
you.
the videos.
Follow me on Instagram.
Yes. What is the Instagram name?
Lakita the Coach Gantz. So it's Lakita the Coach Gantz, Gantz, as in zebra.
And also support speakvolumes.com. They have
Thank you.
awesome gear on there. The shirt that she's wearing, chestnut checkers. Every one of their shirts have an amazing quote back there.
Thank you.
So great stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna have to give me that Kobe shirt that you guys have, because I got no Kobe gear, and obviously
Yes.
he was a impactful person on everybody's life. So
he was very much so on myself and my son's life.
yeah, so for sure. So again, thank you so much. I'm going to end this now, and I appreciate you coming.
Thank